I found myself in an Indian prison. The Indian prison was extreme. I went in there at 90 kilos and I came out 4 months later at 45 kilos. I had lost 10 kilos a month for 4 months. I was covered in scars from the beatings I endured. They have a system which was inherited from the British, a system called the convict overseer system, where convicted murderers are given a stick and a belt and a hat and they run the prison. And they have a plenipotentiary power that can do pretty much whatever they want. They certainly control all the food, so they get bigger and stronger as you get thinner and skinnier. At one stage, when I had a fist fight against one of these overseers, who was just a ruthlessly cruel, fanatically cruel man, I had a fight with him. They, as a punishment, put leg irons on my legs. I have to tell you that there is something in the experience of being chained, of having they don't put a padlock on with a key when they put this thing around. They use a cramping tool. And the metal bands are cramped around your ankle with the cramping tool. And it stays like that until it's time to take it off. And they use an uncramping tool to spread the metal and take your foot out. So that thing's on you permanently. And they put this chain on me, and I was biting the inside of my face to stop the tears from pouring out, because it is a shaming thing. It's a terribly shaming thing. I can't hope to communicate to you the depth of it, to be a chained human being, to have this happen to you. It's almost as though, for me in that second, the entire Mandingo history of slavery and enslavement happened to me. I had that sudden sense of what it must have been like in any age, for any people of any race, to be chained and enslaved. And the shame of it, for me, penetrated to the core of my being again. I had that sense of, I'd done this, I'd come to this. And then a man walked over to me in the midst of that when I had the new chains, and he had been wearing chains for quite some time. There were a few men in each of the rooms. There were 200 men in each room, and a few men in each of the rooms had the chains. And he walked over, and I'd tried to take a few steps to walk away. I wanted to go to the bathroom where I could throw some water on my face and try to hide these tears. And he walked over and he said, "Aisa nahi bhai." He said, you don't do it like that. Because I was walking, I haven't demonstrated for you, I was walking like this. I don't know if you can still hear me if I'm mic'd up now, but I was trying to walk like this with the chains, and I was doing this. And he said, "Aisa nahi baba." He said, "Don't do it like that." He said, "I'll show you how to do it." He said, "You've never seen it? You haven't seen me do this, you haven't seen me do it. This is how you do it." And he walked like this. And what I discovered is that there's an art that this man had put, and every man who did this was transmitted from man to man. As when you became a chained man, the other chained men came up to you and said, "There's an art in it. And there's a way to do this and still be cool. Don't worry about it. You can maintain your dignity." And I can tell you that at night, when the men used to turn over their thalis, their little metal plates, turn them over, and for entertainment sing and play drumming on the bottom of that sound, guys. They would be doing this on the thalis and singing. And Jadoo Teri Nazal, singing whatever the song is, that's for you. They'd be singing songs and so on, all the men together. Guys would get up who didn't have chains on, and they would dance with the guys who had the chains in the same way. And because they were joining in and saying, "We're not chained, and thank God we don't want to be, but we're joining in with you, and we're putting a bit of our humanity into what you're experiencing, what you're feeling." And this is something that I learned there. The men in that prison, I was, as a punishment, put onto half rations. The rations as they were starvation rations for me, and the half ration was just simply not sufficient to support life. Men took beatings to bring me food, to tear their chapati, their roti in half, to give it to me, knowing that they were going to get a beating. They would hand it to me, and then look, the eyes of those men, when they looked to the overseers, and the overseers come over with a stick and say, "You know you're going to get a beating for this." And they would hand it to me and look in the eyes of those men saying, "It's worth it," and hand me a chapati, and then get their beating, take their wax, and walk away. The eyes of those men are the jewels that I carry. I don't wear jewelry, but I carry those jewels with me. This is my species. This is the love of my species. In this place, in this strange, brutal, a wretched, miserable place, the love of my species, the beauty and the wonder of what it is to be a human being.